Howdy, friends and floorheads. It is Thursday night, which means it's time to play some Forbidden Lands. It's been way too long, but we're going to start without a second passing. So, where we left off, it was midday outside, but where you are in this tomb, it is dark, except for Aldrich's lantern that Wasilla left on the ground. That's still lighting up. And from that light, we see a few things. We can see Wasilla kind of halfway into the hallway, halfway out of the hallway, not really sure whether she's going to run or not. We've got Osric. We've got Sten minus a cloak, which is currently covering where this green flame was. And then we have Aldrich, who's inspected the small sarcophagus because he could hear magic for the first time. Typically, he could only taste it. And he reached down, and among some children's bones, he found what he knows to be a metal flute, though it's a metal he's never seen before. And it's got some runes engravings on it that seems to have like a blue energy that travels through it. And where we left off, Aldrich stood, turned back to the group so you all could see it.
I I think this is what we were looking for. Feels right.
Is it magic then? Because it looks
Yes.
kind of like a toy. Okay.
It is.
I don't know these things.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
is.
it glows, right?
Yeah, it's got like this blue energy that kind of like
Oh, I probably would have picked that up.
yeah, ripples kind of like ripples down the runes, but it's very subtle. It's something you'd have to be looking at it to really catch. So honestly, Sten, from where you are, you may not even have noticed it.
Yeah, with these terrible old eyes.
We should get to going.
Sure.
Yeah.
He sort of gestures at his cloak on the brazier, and he's like, "Do you think? Tell you what, you guys get to the door. I'm gonna pull this off and run because that's my good cloak."
We could just get you a new
That's
cloak.
my good cloak, he says. Craig, before we leave, I'm gonna put the top back on that sarcophagus.
Okay.
And I think that Osric will say something to the effect of, may the raven guide your spirits. I hope you have peace now, as we make our way out of here.
So everybody but Sten heads down the hallway. Where's the lantern?
With
The lantern's at
I'd be
Sten's
like,
feet, yeah.
Dan, you want to keep this with you?
Sure. I mean, you're not going to be far, right? I mean, you're
Yeah. We'll be right at the door.
Okay.
I guess hold it and shine it in. That's best. I don't know. I mean, you're
Okay,
probably not a
that'll
fast
work.
runner anyway. With the creaky bones.
I can be if I have to be. And then once they get to the door, I'm just going to kind of step away and reach my hand out and just sort of yank and run.
Kind of the magician with a tablecloth.
Exactly. The question is, does everything break when I do it?
So, Sten, you can see the lantern like down the hall, right? That you came in. So you have a beacon to run to. You got your hands on the cloak, and I like that you pull it fast, right? So you just yank, and maybe even without even waiting to look.
Oh no, I don't want to see what's in there.
But as you are running towards the lantern light, you are not seeing the room light up green again, the way it looked every time that you would come into it before. So without even looking back, it appears that whatever that was is now gone.
That's what I was hoping for, but not counting on. All right.
You guys are at the door of the tomb. It's about 1:00 in the afternoon, so a little cloudy, but a lot more light. It takes a while for your eyes to adjust. You're up at the top of this, exaggerated hill that's in the northwest corner of the hollows. You can not only see all of the hollows below you, but you can see well beyond it. You can see the river that runs from the northwest and then splits to the south and splits to the east. The taverns, the people down, walking around town.
look, let's just get to solid ground and
Mhm.
take a break. Like Mom always said, just have a cup of tea and think it through when you, I guess, not
Got
really
it.
see ghost ladies, but
All right. Are we staying out of town?
yeah, I don't
think there's any value for.
I don't really want to see Fatty Mick, innkeeper man, and his son right now.
Understandable.
Are we resealing the tomb?
Yeah, Aldrich would close it up.
Well, before that happens, Aldrich,
Uh-uh.
you step out of the tomb. And as you step out to turn to kind of undo your handiwork, right? Because what was keeping that ajar was kind of the little stone contraption that you put there to kind of hold it, doorstop that you made. But suddenly you feel a familiar weight fall on you as you leave the tomb. So would you take damage for having the scepter, please?
It's also not in my inventory, so I don't know who,
Oh, who
has,
has
it
it?
currently.
It's in my inventory.
Okay, take the damage for me if you would, Ostrich.
But I'm not supposed to have it in my
Yeah,
inventory.
I would have had it.
He
And
has
it
would have
just
had
didn't
it. All right.
I would have had it. It just didn't get passed to me.
All right, hold on.
Right.
I'll take care of it.
So yeah, just kind of.
Welcome to inventory management.
That's back. All right.
And what happened with that anyway? I assume you were trying for the big earthquake or whatever.
Yeah, it was just everything kind of went quiet while we were in there. Just kind of dull. I tried even my own magic and it was impotent. I was not expecting that.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. That ever happened to you before?
Not in my experience. As little as it's been. Let's shut this thing down and act like we were never here.
Right.
So you're able to close it up, put it essentially back where it was. It's not as sealed as when you found it. Just the fact of opening it 2 or 3 times now has obviously, drew things. So it's very clear to see the edges now of the tomb door, which was a little harder to see when you first got there, but everything is back as best as you could.
I'm gonna, while they're doing that, I'm just making my way down the little path as carefully as I can and over to the flat landing.
Yep. So you're there with the standing stones.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm gonna, while they're getting their stuff together and talking, like I'm gonna head out and I'm gonna like really start putting together a tiny little fire.
You start making camp.
Just like not full camp, just like I want to boil water.
But
Okay.
That's what
up
I'm
here
gonna
on
start
the standing
gathering.
stones, or
Yeah, I'm gonna
down
start.
the trail and outside of town.
I am going to start trying to get enough kindling to make a fire.
Okay. So we'll have you starting to gather that, Wasilla.
Okay.
And the
If
three
you
of
all
you
want that
once
to be a different idea, that's your own business.
So as the 3 of you finish getting everything sealed and pushed into place, you come around kind of that edging, right? The small path that edged along the southern part of the mountain. You come to the larger where you'd camped previously. And you see Wasilla where you had your campfire before. She is gathering and looks to be trying to start a fire.
Sure you want to do that in a land full of grabby arms?
They don't do that at the daylight, do they?
They haven't, but I don't know what might have just changed.
Too true.
Well,
Just keep your eyes open. I mean, we can do it.
I just
Let
really
the
would
last
like
have a
to.
cup of tea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
no,
like to
tea's
sit and
good.
have a minute.
Sure.
Yeah, so we get the fire started, and using one of the small pots that Aldrich has, you're able to empty some of your water. If you want to give me a water roll real quick.
Yeah.
Wasilla.
Gear, water.
Yep. All right.
No
And anybody wants to do anything before the water starts boiling?
Sten's just going to kind of take a look at his cloak, see if there's any soot or stains or weird holes or anything in it.
No sign that it did what it did.
Good. Then I'll put it back on.
We see the steam starting to come off the water. Wasilla.
I'm gonna make us 4 little teas, like almost ritualistically, like a very practiced like set, and I'll like set them up nicely on like little platters as best as I can like cobble together,
Mm-hmm.
and set up and steep some tea for us.
Okay. Do we want to make this a quarter day activity? Do we want to take opportunity to rest here, or do other activities, or is this just a little blip? What are you thinking, Dave?
Well, Wasilla is pretty freaked, right? Like, so she's going back to comfort, going back to mom.
Okay.
So as
let's
much
make
as
it a
I'm
quarter
happy
day
to
then.
keep. I'm happy to keep watch if you guys want to rest. I mean, I'll certainly have
Yeah, let's
tea
do
with
that.
the group.
Let's do it. Let's make it a quarter day. So let's open up the
Mhm.
party sheet. And
There it is. Jeez.
I'll take the rolls whenever.
so I made water, and then what other?
Yeah, and that doesn't take a whole quarter day, Dave. So if Wasilla wants to do something else this quarter day, she can, including anybody who wants to sleep can also do that and still have the tea.
So it's caffeine free. Got it.
It's an herbal tea.
It is.
Exactly.
It's stone tea. She's making stone tea.
Yeah.
Had stone soup. I've never had stone tea.
Dirt tea.
It is in fact a calming, supposed to have a calming effect in general.
Nice.
Cool.
So,
All right, so I've got Sten keeping watch.
I'm resting.
Okay. So Dave is gonna. There's our keep watch. Do we wish to push that, Sten?
It's only 1 point of wits. What could possibly go wrong?
don't say that.
Why would you say that?
Because that's how I roll dice.
Okay. So
Oh, actually, that was a skill die, so I'm fine. I'm just blind.
well, I think all 4 of you have been through a good bit here.
It's a little bit of the adrenaline let down.
Yeah. So all right. So we've got Wasilla sleeping this quarter day. We have Sten keeping watch. Aldrich and Osric.
Aldrich is pretty, I guess, mission focused. Like he's very curious about the artifact that we've just uncovered. So he's not gonna we're not jumping straight to play the flute, but he is gonna take the time and just essentially focus on it magically and just kind of, get in tune with it.
So let's do a sense magic roll.
Okay.
I'll let you decide the power level.
I'm gonna just safe cast it.
Okay.
So I'll just spend 1 willpower and just detect magic at power level 1, no roll.
Yeah.
Osric's teeth, thank you.
So here's what you sense, Aldrich. This thing is powerful, but doesn't feel as powerful as the scepter. In the same way, Rustbite doesn't feel as powerful as the scepter. Rustbite also doesn't have a ruby, nor does this flute. You can tell it's meant to be played, so it's functional. You get a sense that it's the sound that's the magic. A lot of it being because that's the first time you've heard magic. But like Rustbite, like the scepter, there seems to be something imbued in this flute. Now, it's very obvious with the scepter, right? You have this elven ruby in here, and you can tell that this elven ruby has become part of the scepter. Rustbite isn't as quite as obvious, but Rustbite has an energy, a personality inside of it, and so does this flute. And what you can't tell is if it's dirty or clean. Like the scepter, like Rustbite, it seems mixed. It seems muddy. It's not a clean magic. It's not a dirty magic.
Interesting. And I
Actually,
think.
Aldrich, do me a favor. Give me a lore roll.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Lore. And roll it.
Brain's so
So
tired.
here's what I'll give you. Don't push this. So the runes are unfamiliar to you, and they seem like maybe more designs than or anything. But you look at the side of the flute that would be facing the player, right? So if the person, whoever's playing this flute, there would be this blue energy runes that would face out. But there seems to be some sort of writing of some sort, not just runic, on the inside, but you can tell that it's a language of some sort. You've been exposed to Elvish before. You've been exposed to Dwarven. This is something different, something you're not familiar with.
Very interesting. Okay.
Osric, what are we doing this quarter day?
I think Osric is going to rest as well. Just maybe sort of keep Wasilla company. Make sure she doesn't panic and freak out.
All right, so that's going to end up taking us into the third quarter day. It's about 6 o'clock. The sun will probably be setting here in the next 2 hours or so. We have 2 quarter days left in the day.
So I figure the question is, do we want to try and get some miles under our feet before night falls here? Or are we going to spend one more night here and see what the dead do, if there's anything different?
I feel like this town's a mystery to me anymore. I don't know what to do with it. Like,
Yeah.
I was hoping to find the dead king to help us, defend the town against the Brotherhood, the demons. And we've got a flute, and we've got a mixed up boy who probably should be dead. I don't. Probably get out of here before everyone gets dead while we're standing here. That only happens twice so far.
Don't remind me.
Want to do a little bit of traveling? Let's head over there.
Yeah, best to get out of here so we have more distance when the Rust Brothers show up.
Before we hit the road, someone mind taking the stick?
Yeah, I can do that for a stretch.
Thanks, Dan.
All right.
So much map.
I can actually
All right.
see the map this time. Woo!
Okay, so
I was inadvertently looking at the stream window. I shouldn't do that. I was like, you can see all these things. Yeah.
all right, so where are we headed?
Well, we talked about going to the mine to the south,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Still think that's probably our goal.
Yeah.
And if you go
And
directly
haven't-
south, you've traveled there before, so there's going to be
Right.
no lead the way roll.
I was gonna say, haven't we? Don't we know the layout of some hexes to the south?
Yeah, you have a path that'll take you all the way back to Amber's Peak, and Amber's Peak is on this east side of that mountain range.
Right, because
And-
all I'm seeing in the Forge is like 5 hexes along the river.
Gotcha. Well,
Oh, I can finally see it, and now you can't.
let me show you. I'll take you south.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the path I see.
Yeah,
You
that's
have-
yeah. I just did not see any of
Uh,
those other hexes there.
Okay.
Let me do it. Let me do a reload and see.
And we think that the mines themselves are actually southeast or southwest of here.
Southwest,
Yeah,
yeah.
you were told, or not you were told. Aldrich was told
Yeah.
that
They
it
were
was
told by Aldrich.
Yeah.
Yes.
that it was
And
on the
also
western side of that
the
mountain range.
the horse lady and her charge
Hmm.
had gone past the mines and then sang with ghosts. The child had sang with ghosts.
That's
They
right.
gained
And we
the
would have
ghosts.
seen them here.
Roughly.
Yeah, it was not far out of Amber's Peak when we were running away.
Yeah.
So south we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably the
go.
safest option.
Might
Yeah.
as well cross the river here.
All
while
right,
there's a
let's go.
relatively
Party
safe place
sheet.
to do it.
We don't need to lead the way. Do need to keep watch.
I mean,
I
I'd be
can-
happy to do it, although my last keep watch was not great.
Have I regenerated my wits because I slept?
If you've
Question.
slept, you've regenerated. Yep.
Cool. That's what I thought. But get my
Rest
games
will
mixed up.
regenerate. It just means you haven't slept.
But I'm fine. Wasilla, if you wanted to have slept during that time, you can.
I feel like she, in character, there's no way she's sleeping.
Got it.
Fair.
The adrenaline's too high.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. She's in fact doing all the things that make her comforted and happy. So I can keep watch, okay?
All right.
That's not normally my
All
job.
right,
Normally
let's give that
it's-
a roll.
Are we in the character sheet here? Not the character. The
Party
It'll
sheet.
be in the party sheet. You put yourself on
Party
the keep
sheet.
watch.
yeah. Sten's on the keep watch, so I'll
Well, I was before, but I'm happy to swap out. I think. No, I was going to say I can hunt while traveling, but I'm not. I can hunt while resting. So, yeah, all right. I'm happy to keep it up.
it's your call, man.
No, I'm fine. You
Okay.
You just enjoy the travel. Scouting. Hey, that's better.
There you go.
Nice.
Outside
nice.
of
Away from
feeling-
that damn town.
Feeling better. Feeling
All
better
right.
already outside of
And
town.
Yep.
Everybody else is walking, right?
Yeah.
So this will take us from 6 into midnight. So actually, no, this will take us to about 9 o'clock because we're going to get 2 hexes per
Mhm.
quarter day.
Okay.
Where you're walking is kind of a mixture of these rolling hills. To your right, to the west, you have the river that heads south. Actually, coming in from the south, it's all heading east, right? They connect and then head east. And these rolling hills mixed with the grasslands, and as the sun starts to set, you really get kind of a neat effect as the wind is moving the top of the grass. You start to hear the crickets start to make noises, and kind of like the grass around you becomes just alive with the sounds of the different insects. And as the sun sets, you just get this beautiful gold that reflects off of the grass and the water as you follow the river south.
Okay.
That's the first half of this quarter day. Do we want to continue to another hex this quarter day?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
I guess the question is, do we want to keep following the river, or do we want to break off a little bit in case
is there enough
others are coming by boat?
is there enough light to walk by?
No, for this next quarter day, or for this next half of the quarter day, you guys would
Mhm.
need light. The lantern, Aldrich's lantern's more than enough, though.
Okay.
I can pop an oil for the lantern if we want to keep heading moving.
Yeah, I think we should get a little more distance behind
So
us.
back to Sten's question: do we want to stay following the river, or do we want to take a different path?
Because right now we're in the hills just south of the hollows, right?
Correct.
Okay, because it's still, my map is still screwed up. But anyway.
I think we can follow the river, but not like on the river.
Sure. Yeah, but
Stay on
into
the same
that
hex, right?
southwest hex, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
like
not
Keep some distance from the water itself.
not directly in.
No, it's like you got to
eyesight
remember it's
of-
like 6-7 miles
Yeah.
that
Right,
hex is
right.
covering, right? So okay,
Yeah.
great. So we'll head
Yeah.
southwest.
Mhm.
Keep following there. I will need again to keep watch roll.
Okay.
but you've traveled here before, so there doesn't need to be a make way.
All right, y'all want me to do that again? I hear no objections.
Go for it.
Sounds good.
Go for it. Mm.
Good job, you.
Well, it's dark.
It is.
That's a lot to push. I think I'm going to hope that we're in relatively civilized lands.
Yeah.
It's probably fine.
I don't know.
Sure.
Like I just can like I'm just imagining that we're all, at least Wasilla is like pretty banged up from the whole Hollow's Return experience, right? So
Mhm.
if Sten is a little distracted and off in his brain, that's not
Yeah.
unreasonable.
Okay. Thank you for your understanding, Fuzzy.
I mean,
So that
there's a lady that turned into a screeching ghost that killed a magic scepter because of her hate. Like,
It's a
how's that
it's
a
a
thing
whole,
that can?
There's a lot going on.
The whole
How's that a thing that can
happened.
even happen?
I
Like-
no longer believe in how physics works.
Like,
all right. So that takes us to the fourth quarter day.
I would like to sleep.
Same.
so setting camp takes a quarter day.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You know what? You've traveled here before. I'm not worried about making camp, so we can
Okay.
definitely get the rest.
You're so good to us.
Yeah.
Cool. Does anyone want to stay awake?
I mean, I feel like someone should. It's who slept
Yeah.
earlier today? Was it Osric?
So I rested,
Aldrich.
but that's
Yeah,
fine. I'll keep watch.
All right. So we'll have a keep watch from Osric.
Let's see if I can't find that party sheet again.
We'll let Oscar catch a nap in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the keep watch. Roll my. Oh, we're gonna take that great helm off for this process.
Good
Okay,
call.
fair.
Good call.
Probably good.
Look at you with us.
Look at that.
So Osric is everybody sleeps. Kind of nothing fancy, no fire. Kind of rolled up bed rolls. You're in the high grass, so really, if anybody coming would only really see you, and that's if you were standing. So if you were to be on one knee, you could have just your shoulders above the grassy area. So it's a relatively safe spot. You've got pretty good visibility, even though it's night. It's a relatively clear night for most of the night, so the moon shines, covering most, but there are clouds rolling in. And we begin to see the sun rise. So let's do our replenish for those that slept.
And now Sleepy says you take a point of wits damage each day. So is that now or at the end of today?
Well, who would be everybody slept, right? Who's sleeping?
No, I did not sleep.
Oh, you did not sleep, so you will be sleepy.
I rested earlier, so I
Got it.
recovered my wits, but I did not sleep in the scary
Yeah, so
rock
mark your sleepy,
pillars.
Mhm.
and we can look it up here as we play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm perfectly happy to spend a
Right.
quarter day here, let you rest. I can spend some XP. We can.
Well, I think we can move. It's fine. I've taken a point of wits damage. We can move forward.
Okay.
I'll sleep tonight.
You don't use your wits for anything anyway.
Exactly.
All right. So continuing south.
Yep, I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay.
If we find a convenient ford across the river during our travels, I think we should probably take it because we're going to need to get across the river at some point, right? for
Do
these
we
mines?
know which side of the river it's on? The mines?
I don't remember what the lady, the horse woman said.
Vaseline.
So you could do that here if you wanted to. So instead of going south, you could go southwest,
Southwest.
and you have no trouble finding a spot to cross. It's not a raging river by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll get faster by the mountains, right? As the runoff
Correct.
comes up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which you are traveling upstream now, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, all right. Let's go ahead and head across then. Good
All
thought.
right, so we're going to need a make way as well as a keep watch then.
All right.
All right.
Would
So
be the keep watcher.
Aldrich's the keep watcher, then
All right, then I can forge a
Stun's the
path.
make way.
Da-da-da-da-da. There's something special about lead
Make
the way.
way, make way.
You can spend a willpower after rolling the die.
Yes, I can, but I don't want to if I don't have to.
Yes, you definitely should roll the die first.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, come on. No problem. I'm getting my share of ones tonight, but
All right, that's our make way.
Mm-hmm.
And who's our keep watch?
That would be Eldrick.
Cool.
Very nice. So you guys find a spot to cross on the river. We now get to midday. No, this is still the first morning. This is the morning of the quarter day, right? Or
Mhm.
and that now we're going to rest. Is that the plan?
Cross
Okay.
the river, go west, then we'll probably follow back down southwest along the river on the other side.
We'll
That's
take
how
a
we're going to
second
spend the
hex from
first
this
quarter day, right? To get us to
Right.
noon.
Yep.
First quarter day will be 2 hexes, right?
Right.
Correct.
So we going south again or southwest?
I would go
South to
south
follow the
along the
river.
river.
That's my thought as well. Okay, cool.
All right, same thing. We do 2 rolls.
Let's do it.
This is me doing it.
You're doing it.
Excellent job.
You did it.
Done did it.
I do it.
You
Oh,
also
yeah.
did it.
Yes.
So good at this.
Getting back in the groove now. We're good at role-playing games, guys.
Yeah.
You rolled. You're
We
playing.
got our team
a game.
strategies.
After what was really a tumultuous couple days, leading to an incredible battle yesterday with forces that you've never faced before and walked away from it. I think thoughts on Nervia, thoughts of the Hollows, the kid, the father. Oh, Vike, grabbing his family and packing up and heading out of town. I think it's after these several hours of walking through these plains, hearing the water, finally starts to relax a little bit. Finally, just the tension leaves a little bit. And before we finish this quarter day and move into the next one for activities, I would like to get a sense as we traveled through these hexes, who's quiet, who's talking, and what are we talking about?
Sten usually doesn't do much talking unless somebody's talking to him, so I'm assuming he'll be quiet. He'll probably be a little bit out front of the group, actually, not far, just because if he's leading the way.
I think Osric spends a little time ruminating out loud about the idea that perhaps the best thing we could have done for the Hollows is take this magic thing away from it. So maybe that will help somehow. That
Hopefully.
the Rust brothers won't be as interested in the Hollows because this is no longer there.
Let's hope.
Not to voice a potential negative, but I hope they don't, try to get some retribution for losing something they thought was theirs is my concern, but what can we do?
They're
At least they don't have it, whatever it is.
right.
Can I play it?
I
So,
mean,
like, Vasilla like moves from like the beginning of the march away from being like sober, like very like, how could something so angry like that even exist? How is like that even possible? And just like muttering kind of to herself like the cosmos till like the next morning, the next day, she was like, "Can I play the flute?" Like there's like a there's not like a step function there. It's like a sliding.
I mean, only one way to learn how it's going to work. And
I mean, Sten kind of stops and turns around and looks and says,
I
Do
never
we-
learned how to play the flute.
Do we have any idea what it does?
Again, it's a flute. It's a magic flute. The only way we're gonna find out what it does is give it a doot.
Oh God!
I know.
All right, Sten gets his bow out.
So
Hey.
I don't know if we're gonna. If it's all right with you, while we're traveling, Wasilla, we'll put the flute in your hands,
Mm.
and as you're traveling, you're inspecting it,
Mm.
right? Checking it out, figuring out how does one play this. Have we played a wind instrument before, Wasilla, or are we only a stringed instrument woman?
I think I messed with some flute-like instruments early on, even if it's just like two reeds together and messing around. I think in the family band that was my job.
Got it.
Wasilla absolutely did the thing where you put like a piece of grass between your thumbs.
Yeah,
And just...
exactly.
Mhm.
She 100% did that.
She's a
Excellent.
whiz on the kazoo.
So let's put ourselves midday at noon. We got a full quarter day. So if we want to make camp, we can. If we want to rest, we can. If we want to play a flute, we can. How
Yeah,
do
I
we
think
want to Go
I
ahead.
think getting Osric a cat nap, at least,
Sure.
yeah, get
So-
some sleep. We'll make some meal. We'll make a sit down meal. Play a flute, right?
So, not to be that guy, but if he sleeps now, will he be able to go all the way until tomorrow night?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
I think. Right. I slept 2 days.
Yeah, it just
Okay.
ends the sleepy condition, and that takes
All
care
right,
of
cool.
today.
Then I'm for it.
Right. So by the end of today, we got 3 more people that will want to sleep.
Sure.
to avoid
We'll
sleeping.
we'll definitely make camp
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, but he'll keep watch then tonight, presumably, and
Right.
it will get him back on a reasonable sleep
If
schedule.
you guys want to all fill your water dye, you're near this freshwater river, so you can
Yeah.
all get it up to the highest
Sounds
dye for water.
Great. I
But I
already
will
have
need-
that.
And if you want to take care of food rolls, we can take care of that now as well.
Yeah, I
Sure.
think Vasilla's going to take the time to really like sit down with Aldrich and like, because he's the crafter, and like really make a meal, like a real like meal, and take this core day and like make something really good and like play the flute as he's like plays like his favorite song on the lute and like have a little family moment, right? Like Osric's sleeping, Sten's being grumpy, right?
All right. So I'll need a make camp, a keep watch,
I guess make camp would be me.
and don't forget the gear bonus from the tent.
Yeah, so I'll be the one that makes the camp, right? I
Oh,
guess
okay.
depends how you want to skin the making the food and presumably playing the
Yeah,
flute
I'm
isn't
not-
gonna
I'm
take,
not
like,
worried
a
about that.
forever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I'm not worried
yeah.
about that. So, yeah,
So
if you
why
want
don't
to
you
make
keep-
camp, that's all part of it.
Unless you want to, whatever you want to do, Stan. If you want to keep watch or if you want to make camp, however you want to do your side.
Well, I'm happy to do either of them. Like I said, I got XP burning a hole in my pocket, but I want to make sure we have
Yeah.
everything covered.
No.
Why don't I keep watch and you make camp, Aldrich, and
Yeah,
the
and
two of
we'll
us
let
will
Stan-
count that as making like
Making
a
the dinner as well.
real
Perfect.
meal together.
And Stan
You
can
guys are the
And then
best.
Sten can
Sten can
Sten-
undoubtedly fail a wits roll to
A
try
wits
and
roll
he
learn
can
to
it.
spend some
learn
of his
a
old
thing.
man tokens.
Yes, exactly.
What are we going for?
I am trying to learn fast footwork,
Ooh.
and that's a new one,
Ooh.
so I need to make a wits roll for it.
All right.
And the value of that is it is a free dodge once per round of combat,
Oh,
Ooh,
which
nice.
good.
being a frail person is
Yep.
relevant to my
That's
interest.
pretty
It's on
good.
my list. I get it.
So good.
So for those of you watching that
Right.
aren't familiar with you saw the food rolls. What happens is they have a die size, and they roll the die on a 1 or a 2. It goes down a size, and when they got down to a D6 and roll a 1 or 2, then they're out of food. Works for water and arrows as well.
That's not the right stats, Tim.
Oh
Roll.
shit, you're right. It is actually the
Uh,
same number of dice, though.
That's
so
it is if
you
it's the
tell
same
me.
number of device,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and do it. So
We'll
you should
allow
be able to find that,
Yep.
Brian, and be able to pull it over.
I will do that thing. Da-da-da-da-da.
Aldrich, do we wish to push our mate?
Yeah, I think I will.
Okay.
I don't mind having some willpower. There we go.
There you go.
I also missed my keep watch, but I'm not going to push mine. I'm doing a bad job of keeping watch because I'm more interested in doing.
So just out of curiosity, Aldrich, what was the trouble that we had? How did you get past it, and why did it take a little bit out of you?
So I think there was a bit of hesitancy, especially if Wasilla is gonna try the flute. And also he's kind of used to, especially doing kitchen work. Like he's not used to having an extra pair of hands helping
Mhm.
him out,
I'm
like
helping.
making a meal.
I absolutely can imagine that
So there's-
Wasilla is 100% distracting during this whole process.
He has that initial like, all right, I can just do it, and then it's like, and then takes a second. No, let's do this together. Yeah,
Right.
you cut those up
Especially-
for me.
It's like, how do I? And like, don't, you're going to catch your hands. You cut away from yourself.
So you find a spot for Ostrich to be able to sleep. You get the fire going. You, Aldrich, and Wasilla get to play house and create this really great meal. Sten, what is the activity that gains this extra dodge?
So Stan is making a point to be sort of far away from where Wasilla in particular is working, where the kitchen stuff. He wants to kind of be out of sight because it looks fairly goofy. It's not like he has a bunch of traffic cones, but it is almost that kind of, NFL footwork drill where he's got like, little rough areas and rocks and things. He's just kind of working on moving his feet around them because he's tired of, tripping on roots and all that kind of thing.
Doing like sprawls. You're going to come back so sweaty.
Yeah, probably. He takes his cloak off, I can tell you that much.
So at the end of this day, this quarter day, we have Sten returning with more than a few beads of sweat on his brow,
Mm-hmm.
but well hydrated, grabbing some water from the
Sure.
river as he came across.
That's why I used up my my food because I got very hungry after doing
Yeah. And Wasilla and Aldrich make quite a meal for everybody to sit down and eat. You can do it this quarter day if you want, Wasilla.
Yeah, I'm going to try to play a remembered song from what I think is that era that is relatively happy on the flute.
Ooh, is it Locomotive Breath? I love that one.
I need to know where everybody is.
Like relative to Wasilla.
Like I'm imagining us like sitting around the fire and like she's
Mhm.
like crisscross applesauce, right? And like playing the flute and
Yeah, so Sten, I mean, he doesn't want to offend her, so he's not going to like stand up or back away, but he is going to have his bow to hand.
I'd say Aldrich's probably pretty close by, just actually like keeping a sense on it. Like, now let's see what happens.
I think just opposite side of the fire, not like keeping super distance, but not
So
investigating the magic things.
yeah,
and
so
such.
we're approaching like 5 or 6 o'clock, and we got full bellies. Wasilla, pull out this flute. I need a performance roll. You can click on the flute. It should give you the artifact die.
so it'll be in my gear, presumably.
Mhm.
We got the Tizauer, is that it?
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that looks like a flute.
Yep. Edit.
Smartass.
Post chat. Come on. It will not let me click on it.
Okay, let me double check here. Let's just take a quick look. All how do we use this? I don't know how to use this. All right, so do this for me. Roll your performance,
Performance, then
and
gear
then I
gives.
would like you to then roll a d8 afterwards, unless it gives
So
you the option.
it
You can just
does.
add
So
the
I can
D8
add
artifact.
D8 in my modifier.
You can
my
add it in the
artifacts.
artifacts list.
Yeah. Did that work how it's supposed to? It
Oh.
did.
Damn! She's pretty good on that thing.
So the first note is kind of a but then
You're good,
we
Karen.
hear Wasilla find the breathing, find exactly where to put her lips and exactly how to exhale across the little opening to really kind of get that sound. And at first it sounds like a, you know, like a recorder, flute, a crude child's toy at first. But we start noticing Wasilla's fingers getting lighter as she plays. She gets more comfortable with it. For everybody, it sounds really nice. And Wasilla, you're getting lost a little bit in it because I think you're the last one to notice as it almost harmonizes. Like there's 2 or 3 sets of notes all harmonizing together, just filling the air around it as you're playing, making it sound like there's many people playing a flute. Sten notices it. There seems to be like a milky mist forming at Wasilla's feet.
So, Craig, when you say mist, is it like unto the fog of death?
It is not. It's definitely not a red
Okay.
mist, and it's almost not. It's almost liquid in some ways, right? You can tell. You can tell it's not solid. You can tell it's mist-like, but it's got this kind of milky consistency.
So
And
whoever's sorry,
go ahead. Nope.
I was going to say whoever's sitting nearest me, Stan's just gonna kind of lean over and tap him on the knee. Like, you see that?
Hmm.
You see that mist?
Interesting.
Wasilla seems oblivious to it.
Yeah.
But it's
Interesting.
rising up her, and it's keeping, it's encompassing her almost like a sphere, right? Starting from the bottom, and it's just slowly getting higher and higher, knee high, mid thigh, which isn't that far for Wasilla.
Especially because I'm sitting cross-legged.
Interesting.
Wasilla, the feeling you're having right now, this is your best performance. You are finding notes between notes. You're finding different ways to change keys, to jump, to compose as you play. It's covering about 2/3 of Wasilla now. You cannot see through this kind of orb-like cocoon that's forming around her.
And
Is
she
it-
seems fine.
She seems elated. Her eyes are closed and she is playing. And to be clear, the music is unbelievable.
Is it moving aggressively? Is it completely surrounding her, or is
It
it?
seems to be reacting to as she plays, right? So she'll make changes and it'll move up a little bit more as she changes a key here. And it's almost like she's doing it.
I guess magically speaking, is there a major difference like with it being active now,
No.
as opposed to just okay. So it's kind of has the same feel about it.
It's making more sense based on what
Mhm.
you sensed before. The least surprised among you is Aldrich. You look at this, Aldrich, and even though you didn't anticipate it, it makes sense, right?
Mhm.
Now I understand. Wasilla, you open your eyes and you can see this, but it doesn't frighten you. And as it closes above your head, you're now completely enclosed in this milky, misty orb. Everybody can hear the music. And Wasilla, they can't see in, but you can see out. It's slightly obscured, maybe like, if you squinted your eyes a little bit, or maybe you needed some glasses and you're being stubborn about not getting glasses. So it's not that you can't see, but it's just a little cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
And instinctively, you start to walk. And as you're walking, you walk, into some of the taller grass. Almost as an experiment as you're playing to see if does this follow me? And it does. And what surprises you is as you walk into the grass, you see the grass pass through this orb with no difficulty whatsoever. You also watch as you pass through the grass without touching it or disturbing it at all. As you play, the grass passes through your body.
I'm gonna walk around the group, like around behind Sten and the other side of the fire. Are their eyes following me?
Oh, I think they're definitely following you.
Yeah,
They're-
I mean, if you're ever at the point where you're like getting
Like a
out of
hawk.
sight, Sten will finally stand up and follow you. But as long as he can see you, he seems content to sit.
I'm gonna walk towards Aldrich then, and I'm going to like nod at him. Like I'm gonna be like, and like, and
And
I'm gonna
that's when you realize that he can't see you, because in no ways does he be reacting to whatever gestures you're making.
can I walk? If I walk towards the fire, does it get warmer? Are we near the river?
Mm-hmm.
I am going to walk over to the river and see if I can like, if I go into the river, if I don't go into the river, what happens when I touch some water?
So I'm putting, because you guys mentioned you don't want to be real next to the river. So I'm imagining this is a good 200 or 300 yards away at least.
Mhm.
So I need to know if anybody's following her.
I'm
Yes.
definitely going to follow the orb that
Yeah.
ate Wasilla.
Osric?
Yeah. It's fine.
So Wasilla, you get to the edge of the river, and what are we going to do?
I'm gonna just take a step into I'm gonna like kick my foot into where the water would be and tap and like, flip my foot, see if it kicks water.
It doesn't. You can't feel the water. There's no wetness. The water is just passing through your foot as you're playing.
I'm gonna take a step into the water. Do I go down into the water like I normally
You
would?
touch the bed of the river,
Okay.
but feel no water. The water passes through you.
I don't like that.
How
And you,
I don't
and
know
just
if
to
I
be
know
clear,
that.
for you watching outside,
Right.
you don't see this. You see the river
But we
going
see
into
the,
this.
the mist going into the river, right? And
You
sinking
do.
down a little bit.
Right. And you see that the river is going into the mist.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the phenomenon that Wasilla is experiencing right now, you have no visibility.
Sure. But basically, she is. I
She's
would
walking into
assume
the river.
if she's still in there, at least hip deep in water.
Oh, I assumed she was only like ankle deep at this
Okay,
point.
maybe so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna experiment to see if I can like if I'm breathing water, not breathing water, but like I'm gonna go see if I can go underwater because that sounds awesome. If I can be a fish and play underwater,
Great.
Did that thing eat her?
She's still playing though,
You can
right?
still hear the music.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, but
And the orb is essentially, a smidge taller than Wasilla.
Correct. It's a perfect orb around her. A little bit taller than her,
Mm-hmm.
the same width.
Oh, I don't
then
want
kind of puts his hand on the end of one of the arrows in his quiver and looks to Aldrich like, is she okay? Is she in there?
She's still playing. Wasilla, can you
Or
hear us?
it's still playing.
And
Can I hear them talking
you
to me?
can. You can.
Then I'm going to play and because I rolled God mode, I'm gonna build into when I'm playing like a little piece of the Aldrich's favorite like little song that I play him all the time. So I'm gonna like build in that like little melody
Mm-hmm.
like as part of the overall composition.
And Aldrich, you get a sense that she is reacting to you, right? So even though
She's-
she doesn't say anything, she switches to a melody you're very familiar with in reaction, and in her own way answering you.
Yeah, that's her. She's still in there.
Okay.
So I trust her. I think she has control of this. Whatever it is.
Okay. Sten stares grumpily at the orb.
It's a resting Sten face, is what you're saying.
What are we doing, Vasilla?
I'm gonna go all the way to like where my mouth would be below the water, and see if like like would start choking me. Not like dive deep, but just like slowly.
You I don't know what you expect, right? You've done a little bit of experimenting here.
Yeah.
And in a normal non-orb world, I think we would expect, bubbles to come out of the end of the flute, and it doesn't. In fact, for you and for everybody outside, there's no change in the tone of the flute. You have no trouble blowing into the flute and breathing as you're now, eye deep.
Can I see in the water?
You can.
See
And what's odd, you can feel the water through you. Much like the grass.
So I think I come back out of the river because now I got to do my fun experiment. Actually, I don't know. I might just go like walk around on the bottom of the river for like a little bit because that's
Look,
fun
fish!
For the sake of the other three characters, not the players, I'm going to make the river clear enough that you're able to keep track.
Does it like
Uh,
glow, or is it just like a white?
It's almost like, here's how I would describe it. Snow globe, pour milk in the bottom and shake it, and the milk just kind of coats the snow globe, right?
Interesting. Okay.
I see them, so I see their faces getting concerned when I'm just like underneath the water. So I won't play for too long, and I'll come back out of the water and stand up and finish my song, and presumably the orb will dissipate.
So you stop blowing into the flute. The flute kind of start to put it down. The music lasts though, even though you're not playing anymore, and it kind of lingers like an echo. And as it starts to fade, we see the orb start to melt, start to just fade away down in the same way that it appeared up as you were playing. Sten, Aldrich, Osric, Wasilla is dry as you are,
And she's
despite.
that was awesome.
That was spectacular.
I
I
can
need
walk with fishes.
I need 4 empathy rolls.
That's a
Oh, okay.
terrible plan. I have no empathy.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's
Aldrich
weird.
failed. Sten failed.
Everyone
You know what?
failed.
I'm gonna push it. Why not?
Okay.
Oh, should I?
Yeah,
push
that's
it?
why not.
I'll push 2. Why not?
Yay, willpower.
That's what I'm thinking.
No, I'm just gonna fail this roll.
I'm going to take us to break. We'll be
Oh!
back in a minute. So as Wasilla finishes playing, you can see the enthusiasm on her face as she is about to relay to you what she just experienced. And like I said, you see the dry clothes, which I think surprises you. And all four of you have a little bit of a shake of the head as kind of the music leaves your head. And it leaves a little bit of a hangover of just, wow, that was just beautiful. Just unlike anything I've ever heard played before. Go ahead, Vasilla.
I could see fishes. I literally was under the river, and I was like walking on the river, and I could see the fishes go by, and I could walk through the grass and the kelp, and it was awesome. Is this what you get to do all the time, Aldrich?
Well, I've never summoned a milk orb that let me walk underwater. That's a new one to me.
You should learn how to do this. It's awesome.
We have a flute that can do it, apparently. Don't know what that adds to our arsenal of tricks, but
Well, the way she was going through the grass and stuff, she might be able to, hell, walk through a wall.
yeah, certainly a possibility.
That'd be cool. I mean,
Of
they
course,
hear
if
me
she has to
coming.
Yeah.
keep playing the whole time, that's a problem.
I should have got you to shoot an arrow at me and see if it would hit me through the orb.
It crossed my mind, but I didn't want to.
That sounds
I
like
didn't want to
terrible
listen
idea.
to you if I hit.
How
And
are
if
you
I
feeling
missed,
now
I'd
that
never hear the
the
end of it.
now that the effect has worn off?
I don't know. Better than your stupid scepter that failed when we needed it.
That was
Okay.
that was the nature of the cave. That wasn't just the stick. Not as much of a pain as it is.
How are we feeling, Craig? With all of those fancy rolls that
I
nobody
told
had.
you. I told you it was a bit of a shake of the head, kind of having the song leave your ears, and just this feeling of that is, I mean, it was unearthly beautiful.
I didn't think you had it in you, girl.
I mean,
That was real nice.
yeah, that was.
I
That's
don't know
the
why you
best thing
ever-
I think I've ever written. Did you guys? I don't think I could write it down again. It's kind of. It's like you don't even like have a dream. You
those-
wake up and like just kind of like it's gone.
Yeah. I don't know why you ever gave up the woodwind for the strings. Clearly you have a tack for it.
Yeah, yeah. A lot smaller too.
Also, while she's playing this, she can't talk.
There it is.
No lyrics, right?
Yeah.
So this will take us to 6 o'clock. So we're going to enter in. I want to find out what we're going to do this third quarter today.
Do some
We've got
walking.
the river to our east. It is, you guys are going upriver, so it's headed north, the river itself. Beautiful plains. You can see the mountains. A good maybe 15, 20 miles away to your south and southeast. Indications is that you are now west of the top of these mountains. So where they crest, the northern part of them.
All right, so I may have to cross this river again, depending where they go. Well, do we feel like we can
Yeah.
get another few miles under our feet?
Yeah. Don't see why not.
Sure.
Right then.
Well, if you're not too tired from being off in the grass doing whatever it is you came back sweaty from.
All right, so
I
where
was
are we headed?
exercising.
We got
South.
directly south,
Yeah. Let's just
following
keep
the
going
river,
south.
right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, then we know where the river goes.
Let's make our rolls.
Oh, we have to cross the river again.
All right.
Through the woods. Oh, I'm just walking now.
So we definitely will need to make way.
Make
Lead the
Done.
way. Very
Made
nice.
that
3
way.
successes.
Man,
Keep watch. Very nice.
inspiring music.
We're good at this
Mhm.
travel.
Bardic
travel stuff.
inspiration, man.
We've done it a fair amount at this point.
Okay. So you guys continue south. And several things are happening. You see the river now bends. And where it bends, you can now realize that the river is coming from the west, right? And it's bending to the north here. To the southeast, you can see the mountains. Sten, you might be the only one that notices it, but you also can tell to the southeast, maybe near where the foothills of this mountains are, is a very small pyre of smoke that you can tell is probably a campfire.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a campfire someone's trying to hide or at least minimize.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously using very dry wood, right? Minimal amount of
Sure.
smoke. It's not very dark. There's also, and this as this turn comes, a patch of woods. So you can see the river coming from the south. You can see the river entering behind these woods from the west. But there's a good patch of woods up front.
In the hex we're in.
Correct, right? Just to the southeast of you.
Mm-hmm.
And it startles you. From the woods, you hear a and Sten and Aldrich, you've been around. It's a horse or a donkey. It's something, and it's in distress.
Well, let's go have a look. I'll start heading towards the sound, and I'll say to the others, somebody's making camp across the river, and it looks like they don't want company. So let's see what's going on here first.
You hear commotion in the forest, and the commotion is coming closer to you as the sound of this animal is coming closer to you.
Okay, does it just sound like one horse?
It does, yeah, like a donkey or a horse, hard to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in distress. It's getting louder. You hear the brush and the branches breaking as this is working its way towards you.
Okay.
Whatever's generating the sound is what you would assume.
I'll get my bow out just in case. And if it sounds like it's getting close, to break out of the woods, I'm not going to go into the woods after it.
Okay, so we're readying our bow. Sten, Osric?
I think I'll have my hand on the hilt of the blade, but I'm not going to draw it yet.
Wasilla and Aldrich?
Aldrich's probably a bit jumpy, so probably have the battle axe out and kind of basically to almost like use it like a walking stick, since it'd be long enough.
I'm going to ready my knife, clearly.
Of course. Not the flute.
Gonna shiv a donkey.
Uh-huh.
Ready my flute.
No, I'm going to kind of, I don't know, just walk. I'm going to keep my pace back behind Stan a little bit, let him do the lead-in.
Who's closest to the forest, and how close are you to the edge of the forest?
I mean, Sten was probably the first one to hear it and the first one to go that way, so he might be in front. But
I'd probably kind of keep stride with Sten.
Mm-hmm.
How close to the edge of the forest are we?
I'm thinking
feet or
maybe
yards?
30 yards or so. I
Yeah.
don't want to get real close. This thing sounds like it's moving at a good clip.
And it breaks through the edge of the forest and comes into the low brush, right? That buffers between these plains that you've been walking and this forest. And it's an older forest, easily 15, 20 foot tall trees. And at first it's exactly what you expected. You see a donkey just right, just teeth just going and running towards you. The head is the only thing that's familiar. Because from the neck down, it's a naked man.
Oh,
And he's running, and you can see the fear in this donkey's head. And you can tell the human flesh has cuts on it, and just the hands are waving towards you, and as it's running towards you.
Whoa there, fella. What happened to you?
So it's not, listen, it's running towards you, but it's not in its own way. You can
Mhm.
tell, Sten, it's not threatening. Right?
Sure.
It's not coming to attack you. It is running away towards you.
I'm gonna look
Does it-
behind it. Because
Exactly.
being scared and running mean they're scared of running
behind it.
from something.
So yeah, Wasilla, you go off to the side, you look to the edge of the forest where this thing broke out of, right? And you, right now you don't see or hear anything. And Sten, it stops running towards you, but keeps running at the same speed and is kind of veering off to the right a little bit. And I'm going to keep saying what this thing is doing. You tell me if I need to stop, okay?
Mhm.
So it runs around behind you, but not trying to like flank you, right? It's obvious that this thing needs to get you collectively between it and that forest. And as soon as it does, it drops to its knees. And you can see it trying to kind of conceal itself in some of the grass, even though this is where the grasslands have, the height has gone down as it's migrated closer to the river, closer to where this forest is.
And there's no sign of anything coming out of the forest yet.
Not yet.
What do you got, Magic Man?
Well, I'm gonna approach the donkey man.
And you can
Just-
hear the heavy breathing,
Mhm.
Aldrich. You taste sweet vinegar, which is weird because it's vinegar but sweet as you get closer to it. And its breathing starts to but vocally there's nothing human. It is completely donkey.
Whoa there. Calm down. See if we can help you.
I'm imagining, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, Sten, it's kind of like watch Aldrich, watch the forest, watch where's
Mhm.
Ostrich, where's right.
Mhm.
So your eyes are jumping and
It's
jumping.
like a
and
tennis
jumping.
match, yeah.
And as you go to the edge of the forest with your sequence of keeping track of everything happening, Sten, a good 8 feet above the ground, two small things fly out of the forest in the same spot where this donkey was. They appear to be maybe a third of the size of Wasilla. It's hard to get a real clear picture of them, but they do have like leathery bat-like wings. And they're headed towards you and the donkey man.
Okay. So question, Craig. Are there legends, fairy tales in this world about like fae folk, fairies, woodland sprites, that kind of thing?
Well, I'll be willing to get a lore roll from somebody.
It ain't me.
That's a me.
I'm asking the
Fairy
I'm the wrong one
tales.
asking the question.
So Wasilla, many tales of half men, half donkey, half men, half horses. But it's when these two things come darting out of the forest and you get a look at them and you get a look at the wings and you get a look at kind of this beast-like little bodies and these little arms that they have, and they've got this long snout that comes to like lips at the end that are toothy. And you remember stories of forest tricksters and tellers of riddles. And yeah, like you remember hearing the stories like they could fly, but you remember them with butterfly wings and things like this, not these leathery bat type wings. So that's what I'll give you for that one success is that, yeah, this might be fitting it together with some stories I've heard, but these don't look like the trickster forest folk that I'm used to being in
Yeah.
those stories.
Yeah. So are we making deals with creepy forest things? Are we, Mr. Donkey Man?
I'm gonna while she's saying that, Stan will draw draw a bead on whichever one of these things is in front and say, "Hold up there, stop."
Move!
I don't think I will.
Not stopping. If you're between either of these things and that donkey man,
Okay.
you are in the way.
Anybody got a reason why I shouldn't shoot this thing?
Donkey man, Aldrich, you're there with the donkey man. The donkey man is getting back up and just starting to run.
What did he do? What the?
Not hearing any objections.
Oh no.
Stan is going to take a shot at this thing because he don't like it none.
Go for it.
All right. We're going to roll initiative, but you're going to get a freebie in there.
Okay, cool.
All right, so let's do this. Let's get our favorite tokens out, which means now we know we're having fun.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Putting role in role-playing game. Of course, there's creepy, weird, fey things in this world. Yes, there is.
Oh, I don't like them.
Kind of goes without saying. Yeah.
Oh, I don't like them at all.
All right.
Oh, that's awful.
You should be able to draw initiative using your little macro at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, let me do this. Let me
Select your
reset the
token.
initiative deck
Uh-huh.
and then select your token.
Then do the thing.
So I select my token.
Ooh.
Then
Oh, wait,
I
that's
draw.
Brian.
How many cards do I draw? I
Oh,
draw one
You can
card.
only draw
Unless
one.
you have a thing that will make it more.
Yeah.
I draw also 3.
And everybody
Oh.
draw. Looks like.
It's like.
We've got the 2 and the 10 if we want a bard song.
Ooh, we are going
Creepy.
to have
The creepy little buggers, aren't they?
Yeah, they're ugly little
Enough.
monsters.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
I've been playing too much TTS. I keep trying to move with WASD.
You know you've played too many computer games when.
I'm like, why is this moving my screen around? What's going on?
Oh, I love this thing, but it doesn't.
Are you editing scripts in the middle of the live stream?
It's
Craig?
trying. It's not resetting. I'm so annoyed. All right. We are just going to assign him last. All right. So we have got this amp. We'll just roll for him. All right.
Pardon me.
Perfect.
So Sten, I'm going to give you 2 actions. Your first. Well, you're not necessarily first in order, right? You guys can
Right.
switch your cards, but you're going to get a free action. You know, should we go ahead and resolve
Before
that
initiative
first?
starts? Yeah, let's go ahead and do
Correct.
that. So this
And we
is just gonna be
go
a
high
long
to low in this
shot.
game, right?
Low to high.
Yep.
So Sten drew the lowest.
So
Alright,
I got a
and I
2, 3, 8,
have-
10 for us.
So I have my one for sharpshooter and one artifact die because I'm just that good now. That's not what. Okay.
It did the arrows, but not the attack.
Yes, it rolled for my arrows, but not the actual attack. Thanks, guys.
Oh, that was a good one.
Let's see here.
New forge. Woohoo.
What have you done?
You did it under combat?
I did it under combat. I popped out longbow. I checked sharpshooter. I added my artifact die. Oh, there it went.
There it is.
It just is delayed.
Or did you?
No, I did it.
Oh,
Okay.
I see. So I don't get to do anything anymore.
Well, did
That's
you do
fine.
it
It's
from
all your
did you
fault
do it
then.
from the combat screen?
Well, I did it from the longbow, which popped out when I hit.
Okay,
when
do
I
me a
clicked it
favor.
on the combat.
We go back to your
All right,
character
hold
sheet.
on.
Make sure you're on combat.
Oh, you know what? I was on gear. Okay, there's the problem.
Oh, Sten.
I know.
Doing new things. You really are an old man. Like, I have to do it.
He
this
was
new
about to burn
way
Foundry
with
down.
combat.
Foundry stocks.
All right, let's do it
Problem
the
was
right
between the
way,
chair and the
then.
keyboard.
No, I did it from the
maybe
combat, and it was the
not.
same damn thing.
Oh, all right.
That was in the combat.
Brian's just
yeah.
broken.
Which is a shame because that would have been 4 successes. But
That is
anyway.
really odd.
Yeah.
Rip.
I don't know what you've done to me, Craig, but we can accept your roll, and
Okay,
you can roll on my dice for me. You'll probably have better luck.
Yeah.
Is that art from the book too? Those creepy dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it.
Certainly could be. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I've studiously avoided looking at anything that wasn't
Yeah.
the base PHB, so that's cool looking.
Ugh.
I mean, it's terrifying, but cool.
I stab you.
All right. Last try. Go in there now. You should have a different longbow.
Am I in gear or am I in combat?
You're in combat under weapons.
Okay. It looks like the same one.
Survey says.
Now I get nothing at all.
All right, do me a favor. Close it. Reopen it. Do you have it popped out?
No.
All right, close it. Reopen
I'm
it.
reopening my character sheet entirely.
Perfect.
This is great streaming, folks.
Oh, this is great. This is riveting for everybody.
Yeah. Nope, nothing.
All right, I'll roll it for you.
You're in charge of me.
Yeah.
So make sure you add sharpshooter and my artifact die.
All right, walk me through it. Give me just a second.
Mhm.
All right, so I'm going to click on longbow.
Yep.
And then you get.
And you're on
active-
gear 2 now rather than... Okay, there you go. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
and
right.
then check the box next to sharpshooter.
Check sharpshooter. Yeah.
And one under artifacts in the bottom.
Hold on. Of course, this is now I get my. All right, sorry. All right, so we've got 4 agility, 3 marksmanship, 2 longbow, activate
Mhm.
sharpshooter. Anything else?
And one artifact
And what's the artifact?
from
Just
level 3 sharpshooter.
Just a
D8.
1?
Or
a
D8. Does it need to have... Does it need to
It does have
specify the
different
die?
values. Artifacts can have
Oh,
different
I wonder
values.
if that could be it. I wonder if that's what's causing the problem.
Ah.
All right, beautiful.
All right, well, I'll take it.
Okay. 2 successes
Yep.
for 2 damage.
Mhm.
Our little friend here. Stops none of it. So you do 2 damage. So the arrow flies after 4 hours of us trying to figure out how to shoot the arrow.
It's a super slow-mo.
Arrow flies as these things are speeding like fire, like dragonflies almost, and you can hear the wind, or the noise that these wings are making as they are just darting towards this donkey thing that's running away. And Sten draws, pulls, arrow goes flying, hits one in the side, and kind of glances off on its back, and it stops and is turning.
Cool.
Do we want to change the order?
Is it turning towards us?
It is. The arrow got its attention.
Well, good. That was the plan.
Do we want to change our order?
Vassie,
So-
are you gonna sing us a song or?
Yeah. I can
And why don't
sing
we
us
go first?
a little bit of a song.
Okay,
at
so we're
2.
going to put Wasilla first. I'm going to put you at 1. And I've got Sten, or who do we want second?
That makes the most sense, I think. Get
Yeah,
into the
they're
range
far
shot.
away. Guy with bow. The guy with bow
Okay.
and arrows,
Yeah.
importantly.
Then we've got an imp, and then we've got Osric or Aldrich, 4th.
Do you want to hold Osric, or do you want to go ahead?
You can go ahead and go first. That's fine.
Okay. No, either way works for me.
Wasilla, what are we going to do?
I'm going to use Path of the War Cry. I'm going to use rank 1, which will inspire my comrades with a short range to bonus to all attacks during 1 round until it's my turn to act again, and it's +1 per every willpower I spend. I'm only going to spend 2 willpower, so I'm going to sum up some of that power that's left over from the flute playing, and so that same melody is just gonna like come out, but of my like I'm gonna pull up the flute like out of my pack. I'm gonna like play it, but I'm gonna like turn the melody that was like a happy, joyous melody into like a harsher, angrier melody, and put some of like the real force behind it too.
She's going in a minor key.
Okay, so we've got 2 things happening here, Vasilla, that would end up being 2 slow actions. So the playing of the flute would be a slow action, and War Cry would be a slow action.
Okay, so I only really want the war cry. I was just
Okay. Yeah.
adding.
It's kind of a special effect.
Yeah. All right, let's do that. So you've got the flute out, though, right? We've got the flute out.
Mhm.
You do the War Cry, spend the willpower.
You spent willpower.
Okay, great. This is going to give everybody +2 on their attack, Sten.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna shoot him again. Let me try and do it myself now that I know how artifact dice work.
Okay, yeah, just put lowercase d8 in the artifact die.
Yep. No, not 38. D8. And it was 2 dice from Vasilla.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Cool.
There
There we
it
go.
is.
Look at all the- Oh, yes, please.
But it does not, for some reason, roll your arrow die. So
No,
let's
it
go ahead and roll
stopped
the
rolling
arrow
your
die.
arrow die.
Well, I'd rolled about 4 of those earlier. So
You can just manually roll that, and then
Yeah.
if you roll, just drop it down.
This is no longer my favorite thing that Forbidden Lands does, but I still love the fact that like it just get rid of counting arrows. It's so
Yes.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great. Same thing with Food and Water. I absolutely love it. How do you kill it?
So it kind of turned and is flying in my direction. So I visualize that it's kind of coming in and like screeching at me, and I just hit it straight in the mouth and right through.
And as that goes through its mouth and it falls, and immediately, even before it falls into the kind of the grass, you see it's almost shrivel and age as it falls. The other one you see is now stopping, and it turns to ignore the donkey, and you see it smelling the air and locks on you, Aldrich. Whatever it's smelling towards you. What do you have?
Nothing for you.
It's headed your way.
Okay, well, if it's coming at him, then I will use my second shot because I have fast shooter.
Yep.
To do it again, hopefully just as effectively.
That'd be super great.
That would be great. I'm super happy about it. 8, 3. Not quite as impressive. Where is that bane?
The dice giveth, and the dice taketh away.
It's true. The bane is on agility. I think I can take 1. Or however many more I roll.
Huh? All
Okay.
right.
Well, no,
All right.
no super harm done. All right.
This
So 1 damage.
and this thing is darting around like that
Mhm.
dragonfly analogy that I went, and it was headed in one direction. You're aiming for one. It stops. It turns towards Aldrich. You have a hard time completely adjusting. You're still able to hit it and hit part of its
Mhm.
wing. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be slowing it down whatsoever, though.
Okay. You might want to roll for it. Oh, you did roll for the armor. Okay, cool.
No, I have not.
Oh, that was the last one. Okay.
Yeah.
And you also need arrows, which did not roll automatically.
Yep, you're right. Okay, so that that didn't do anything.
Huh.
I got so many arrows, you guys.
Ostrich.
Thanks, Vic.
And so this little fella is now halfway between Donkey Man and Audric is actually nearer to Donkey Man.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, and it had already passed Aldrich at this point, and it stopped, looked at Sten, and started sniffing the air,
Right.
and the sniffing turned it to Aldrich.
Got it. Okay. I am. How close am I to it?
You're near, so you could with a move you could get close and engaged.
I'm going to charge it.
Okay. So fast action. That's right. You already had Did you have Rustbite out?
I did not, but that's
Okay.
okay because I'm going to.
The
shove
charges
it
are
with my
slow, right?
Shield.
Oh, you're gonna bash it.
Shove it to the ground with my shield.
Just imagine you just like a fly swatter, like just like your shield, just like.
So I get a die for melee charge. Don't think I get a die for swords. It's showing me sword fighter, but I don't think I would get that die. So
No,
I'm
you're
just
not gonna get sword fighter if you're using your shield.
Yeah, shield swatter does not get the sword fighter die.
That's what I got, Craig.
So you run to get between Aldrich and this
Oh,
thing.
and I think shove does not actually do damage, right? If I remember right,
I don't know. Let's
I think it
quickly.
just pushes them prone.
it knocks him down.
Gotcha.
The prone's a
Knocks them
word
out of the
scam.
air. That's a good deal.
So you
Yeah, I like
get
that.
between Aldrich and this thing, and as it starts beelining it with the same speed and earnest that it was headed towards this donkey man, it starts heading towards Aldrich. You bring the shield up, and it just ricochets off of the shield and careens off to the right and falls to the ground into the grassland.
Yeah, and then no, I think I'm good. I don't think I'm going to draw the weapon. I'm going to
So
hold
this
my fast action.
to get out of prone is going to be its fast action. So it has one slow action gap. It's near to Aldrich. And Aldrich, it's going to use that to get engaged with you. It's not going to be able to attack you, though. But it stays below the grass. So you see this thing fall into the grass, and you can't see it anymore. And then you see it's flying just above the ground, and you can see the grass parting as its body is working its way and just darting towards you. So just imagine seeing the evidence of this thing flying below the grass as the grass is parting, and it's just headed directly towards you.
It's like a tiny
brings
land
us-
shark.
To Aldrich.
Interesting. How do I want to do this? I mean, I've got the axe out. If he's already that close to me, I'm just gonna swing down.
Batter up.
All
Yeah.
right, let's do it.
Combat.
Remember, you get
Oh.
+2 because
Love.
I have yelled mightily.
Of a mighty yell. Alright, choppy. Oh, that's not very good.
Boo.
I'm gonna push that.
Yeah, you are.
Nothing bad ever happened from pushing.
Oh,
That's incorrect.
But success.
So you're going to hit this thing. for 2 damage. You are going to take 2 damage to your strength and 1 damage to the battle axe. What happens?
I think it's a bad swing. Like I come up and I don't know exactly where I'm aiming for. So my arm swings and it like almost pulls me out of socket a little bit, like throws a muscle as I'm dropping this axe, trying to drop the axe down on this thing. And damage to the battle axe is gonna be like whatever I hit, I'm hitting probably a rock or something and
Yeah,
do a
and
little damage
it's
there.
less. I think it's less you hitting it with the axe as it hitting the side of the axe, right? So the axe comes
Right.
down,
Mhm.
and it hurts, right? So this thing gung right into the axe, but doesn't catch the blade, doesn't catch the edge. In fact, it's kind of hits the axe low, right? So you almost like stop where it's traveling, and you see this thing hit the axe as it's now emerged from this grass, and looks up at you after. Gimme! We're at the top of the order. You guys can switch cards.
It's a miniature harpy.
Well, Wasilla down to the bottom now.
Yep, for sure.
Got it.
I would also like to wait a little bit so it'll come back up to be
Yeah.
visible again.
Probably me and
So-
me and Ostrich at the top.
Yeah,
Okay, who's
I like
first
that.
between the two of you?
I think Aldrich makes the most. Either you
I
can
think so
you
too.
can Aldrich makes most sense because he's the one right next to it, or he's the one that's like dinged up because he just
Yeah,
punched
out of
with his
out of
like
balance.
bare hand into this thing.
You got a big plan, Mr. Big Hero Man?
I don't have a big plan. I
Okay. I'll take the
All
opportunity
right, so
to.
I'm going to put Aldrich at 1,
Mm-hmm.
Ostrich at 2.
Mm-hmm. Then I'll be what would have been between the two of them, I guess.
You'll
And I'll
be
be 10.
after Ostrich, right?
Mhm.
Ooh.
Then it'll be the imp and then Wasilla.
No.
Okay.
So I've got us. How do I? There it is. All right, Aldrich, you're active. This thing hits your blade, is kind of like shimmering and working its way up the axe towards you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and give him another swing.
So you
Get-
pull
get
the axe out
off!
from
Yeah.
under it. Yep.
Fire of 2 still. And choppy. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Well, that's a hit at least.
And you pull it out from it, and it's kind of disoriented, and its wings start flapping really fast as you come down, and you don't have the time to do the full battle axe, overhead chopping wood chop. You just side slap this again, right? So you're just swatting at this thing as it's because of the ferocity that it's working its way up towards you, Ostrich.
Am I still near enough that I
You
can
would
get
be
there?
at near now.
Okay, so I'm gonna make my way over to this little thing.
As your fast action.
That'll be my fast action, and then I'm gonna grab it with a grapple and just grab it by its wacky little neck. That's my plan.
Okay, let's try to grapple it.
And I get my +2 for.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah.
Nope.
So this thing is scurrying as it gets swatted. It is now full flight again. It's headed towards an Ostrich. So what are you grappling it with? You've got Rustbite in one hand. You got the shield
I
in the other.
don't have Rustbite in one hand. I still have.
You
it
take
drawn
the
Still
right
hasn't
hand.
drawn it.
The hand without Rustbite. You grab this thing by its mane that's
You
running
just-
off like the fur of off its back
You
that runs
scruffed the freaking bat thing.
the mane that runs between the bat wings on it. And this thing is fully
Yoink.
intent.
Bless you.
Excuse me, fully intent. Nothing's getting between it and Aldrich, and it's right in its assessment because something is getting behind it and Aldrich as you grab the mane of this thing and yank it back and pull it back.
I said,
and it is now grappled.
calm down, little one.
Sten. And while Sten goes, I need can you check Jim for me the test to get out of grapple? I think it's a strength test.
And
You know, if we kill this thing, it might not be able to undo whatever it did to this guy, assuming it did it.
I can probably figure it out.
I'm not sure
Okay.
that guy is going to be findable.
I mean, I feel bad for him.
Come on, let's go. What are we doing?
I'm just going to be there with the arrow ready in case it gets away. But I have nothing to do with this time.
Arrow
is an opposed melee roll.
Melee roll. Let's
that
do it.
Requires to get away from me. That is not the thing I want.
Can you beat a 0?
I
Watch me.
I'd like to. And this is not an attack, so I do not get Wasilla's dice, correct?
Correct.
Oh. Well, there's no Banes in there.
Where does ties go?
I think it's gonna. I'm gonna give it to the monster.
Yeah.
Well, then you're gonna make me push, huh?
It's
Makes us
willpower.
Would Craig do such a thing?
So this thing starts to get away. You feel the fur, right? The mane starting to slip through your fingers. How do you stop it from escaping?
So I imagine that it's fluttering around and it's scrabbling and clawing and I think I just kind of give it a good hard shake.
and as part of that shake, you're able to get a much better grip on the fur of this thing. But it's pulling at your hand as it's going, and it can't get to you, but you see it's like long, like obtruse, like almost like swollen face, trying to, with its little mouth and its little teeth, trying to bite at you, like trying to turn so it can get to you, but it can't. Its wings are in the way. All you have is your hand, and it's moving around, and it's just trying. It is just, it's like you're holding a squirrel and a cat at the same time. Neither of which are happy.
Half
that this
dozen
is
starving
happening.
crazed weasels.
Alder, or no, Wasilla, I'm sorry.
I'm going to go after the donkey because Osric has this thing now. Like, what am I going to do about it? So I'm going to go. I'm going to go after the donkey man. And
So you start
chase after him.
chasing as this donkey thing keeps looking back and keeps running and starts going into the higher grass, and we have you, Wasilla, chasing after it.
Hey, we got him! Come back! It's fine. We're trying to help.
And they never saw her again.
Aldrich.
And our lives were better for it.
Do we want to reset and let Oscar go first?
Sure.
Makes
tell
more
me.
sense to me since he's the one holding
There's gonna
the.
be three
the
of you
thing.
first.
Yeah. See, I just put Osric in the front, I guess.
Osric, Aldrich, Stan.
And then I'm probably not going to take a shot unless it gets away. So you want to swap me and Wasilla, so in case she catches things, we can.
Do we want Wasilla to go first to find out what's going on with?
No,
I mean,
we want to handle the
I
combat
think we want to
first.
make
Alright,
sure we
cool.
get this guy dealt with.
I mean, I have no particular
Okay,
plan.
how does that look?
Works for me.
Osric, Aldrich, Wasilla,
Sure.
Amp,
That makes sense
Stan?
because then if the thing gets away, Stan can react to it.
Sure, that's
Okay.
the plan.
Osric. You're holding on to this thing. You need an opposed melee.
So the only thing I can do is grapple attack it.
Okay.
Or attempt to talk it down. And a grapple attack works like a punch bite kick, but is a fast action and cannot be dodged or parried.
Okay, great. So you should have the under combat. You should have punch or kick. Do you?
Unarmed strike is what I have.
There you go.
Give him a punch.
I mean, that
Guess
will
that's what I'm
subdue
gonna
him.
do. Not well, apparently. Which is probably because I have the shield in my other hand. So it's not something that I can do very well.
Inconvenient.
I think I want to shout at it again and say, "Stop this! Stop this!" What have you done to that man?
As you start to lose grip of it, and it's so like you can see immediately going for Aldrich, you see it go, and with intensity, the same intensity towards the donkey man, the same intensity towards Aldrich. It's locked on to you, but specifically to Rustbite. It goes, oh! Aldrich?
I'm sorry, that was good. I like that. God, I'm just getting tired of this little thing.
This thing's just broken free of Osric.
It has not broken free from me. I just did not do any damage when I attacked
He
it.
just didn't hit it.
We still need to do the challenge when it's its turn,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Is that a fast or slow action? That
Mine is
opposed?
a fast.
right,
Yours
but
is a slow.
it's a slow when it's opposed to get out of the grapple. Okay.
If yours is a fast, could you punch him again?
No, apparent. Oh, I guess I could, right? Because you could do.
You can do a fast as a slow.
action.
Yeah.
You punch him again?
Sure.
He clearly deserves it.
I mean, obviously.
He's eyeballing your girl.
There we go.
I do think you'll get your armor exposed. Yeah.
And you punch this thing right in the nose. And the little tiny nostrils that are right above its little pursy lips with the sharp little teeth. You pop it back, and then the blood comes down and goes, and the little teeth are as it starts to move towards Rustbite. Aldrich?
Oh man! All right. So with the understanding that I don't want to accidentally chop Osric's arm off, I'm going to do something
that would be
much safer and use a spell.
Oh, good. That'll never go wrong.
Of Osric. So I'm going to use Rock Storm, which I'll post to chat here.
Rock Storm?
I should only hit the little guy.
You see, the word storm in there suggests to me that it's a larger area.
Oh, it's just like bullets, essentially.
So short range, which you're within.
Yep. I'm going to use 2. Get a power level 2 on it.
Power level 2, okay.
And we're good. So that will do 2 strength damage.
What does this look like, this attack?
So Aldrich's magic is all, again, still runic based, just kind of based on his understanding. So he just kind of in air kind of creates this symbol and just draws stones from the earth just straight up. Natural side effect of this is I dropped the axe and then did this and
if you're okay with it, I feel like I'm feeling a little earth bending.
Yeah, absolutely. Very much earth
where we
bending.
see the rocks get pulled from the ground and come up, and like bullets just start shooting at this thing. And so as it's coming down for it, like Osric, it doesn't give a shit about you. It wants Rustbite. It starts headed towards Rustbite. The first rock hits it and kind of knocks it to the side and gets it off. And now it's headed towards your thigh, Osric. And the second one comes. And if this thing has a temple, it goes in one, comes out the other. And before it hits the ground, it turns into this prunish, shriveled, tiny, mummified on the ground.
Well, that's taken care of.
That was horrible.
Let's cut to Wasilla.
I'm running through the grass yelling like, well, my friends are taking care of the whatever the word is.
Can I get a manipulation roll from you?
Yeah. Imps, it's fine. Just stop running. Manipulation.
Oh, jeez. You're scaring him.
I'm not going to push that. No.
Understandable.
It turns to the sound of you yelling and the kind words that you're saying, like, hey, we got it, like my friends got it. It turns, and for a second in this donkey's face, you see comfort, but then you see fear, like worse fear almost. And it turns and it runs almost faster. And Vasily, like, what did you do to scare it? And then you realize from its perspective, it couldn't see you. It just saw the grass parting and yelling at it as it came running towards it. And eventually it outpaces you, Wasilla, and he heads
Alright.
away.
I will go back.
Where's the guy?
He yeah, he wouldn't listen and he wouldn't stop. And
Speed of a donkey, I guess. Well, at least he's
That was a hell of a thing.
safe. These
Yeah.
ugly things.
Well, these
Pick
won't
one of them
bother him
up.
anymore.
So you pick one of them up, and they're like a dry husk, and it's just these grotesque tiny arms, shriveled wings. There's no moisture in it at all. It's just this ugly, just crumpled, mummified looking thing.
Got any idea what these are?
Awful little monsters.
Yeah.
Gonna make a lore check, just investigating the body,
Yeah.
since they are some kind of strange monstery beastie.
So the connection is the sniffing. So it was headed towards this donkey thing. And then before it got shot by an arrow. And instead of going after the arrow, it sniffed the air and came for you, Aldrich.
Mhm.
And that what was the final puzzle piece was it going for Rustbite. So you've heard of imps.
Okay.
These forest magical things that are tricksters and are hungry to consume magic. And though the descriptions you've read of imps as kind of these cute little men with tiny butterfly wings, you go, yeah, I think this is what an imp really looks like. And it's not cute and it's not playful.
they
Well,
Disneyfied the imp infrared plans.
And none of my little cute stories about imps mentioned anything about these tiny razor sharp teeth at this little purse mouth at the end of this bulbous nose.
I think the children's stories were rather sanitized, and these awful little magic-eating imps. That's why
Well,
they were so desperate to get it. The things I have in Rustbite, and well, if there were more of them, they surely would make a feast of us. So maybe we keep a bit of a berth on the woods.
yeah. Do we want to go ahead and cross the river before it gets too dark?
Because this is the first hex of the quarter.
Yeah, I was
day,
going
right?
to say, I think we have a half a hex or a half a quarter remaining.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe
I
not a
guess
bad
so.
idea.
Because we want to
If
get to the
the-
mines, which are down the by the
Bear in mind, there
hills.
is somebody's camp over there, but
So southeast is towards the mountains. South is to stay west of the mountains. This campfire of some sort, which you're guessing they're obviously burning very dry wood, which is a technique you know that, like, if we have to have a fire, let's minimize the visibility of that fire.
Yeah.
So are we going south or southeast?
I mean, I think southeast is where we're going. You know, there's plenty of space. We don't have to approach that fire if we don't want to.
Yeah, give them some
mean-
space.
Unless there's like a particularly better crossing area.
Well,
I would
and
say.
you have room to be, if you want to get out, if you want to avoid the forest, this little forest glen where this whole fun stuff just happened, you can cross over, still head southeast without any trouble.
Yeah, that would be my vote.
Yeah.
Sure. All right, so
Just
let's
give them
let's
space.
lead the way. Let's keep watch.
Party sheet.
Here we go.
Ew.
Oh, I'm not gonna risk that one.
It's getting dark.
Yep.
We're good things.
As you're working closer, Sten, you can see across the river. You can see whoever or whatever this is actually better at this than you realized. Because as you start getting closer, you realize there's probably 4 of these fires, but they're very good at this. It's amazing you saw one of them, because they're dissipating this smoke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a whole encampment up there.
And as you work your way through these grasslands with the high bushes and a failed keep watch roll,
Yeah.
you're maybe a half a mile from these fires. Quarter, half mile.
I don't think we need to get any closer than that.
Probably not.
And a woman's voice from the grass says, I agree. State your business. And all you see is the end of a bow in a hand and an arrow, Sten, pointed at you. And somehow, out of nowhere, and Ostrich, you see the arrow and the hand coming out of the grass pointed at Sten. And as you're about to react, you catch movement in your right side of your, and you turn, you've got the same pointed at you. And Wasilla, out of the grass, an arm grabs you at the waist and puts its hand over your mouth and draws you close. And Aldrich, you have an arrow pointed at you as well. And the little sound that Wasilla makes causes all of you to turn to look at her. And the woman holding Wasilla is not a woman you've ever seen before. She's got deep black hair and a tight braid. She's young, maybe feels like mid-20s. She's got intricate tattoos that cover the entire right side of her face. You've never seen her before. You can't see the other 3. But you've seen those clothes. And you've seen the symbol around her neck. She is dressed very similar to Nevaeh. And the symbol around her neck, the Wasilla now is kind of hanging on your shoulders. This woman has pulled you in, is the same symbol of the raven. Who has Nevaeh's symbol?
Olm? Is that the answer?
No, you took it from Olm. I think it was Aldrich that took it from Olm, but I want to confirm that.
That sounds right.
It's either Aldrich or me, I think, would be the 2 people that I would expect to have it.
Pretty sure it was Aldrich that ripped it from him. Ripped it from Olm.
Yeah, Aldrich was
Okay.
pretty
Okay,
angry in the
we'll
end.
go with that. Yeah.
Very believable.
And Aldrich, you have it in the pocket, and you register, you realize this isn't Nevaeh. This is a woman who's younger than her, but the style of dress, the symbol, all of it clicks. You remember Nevaeh talking about being south, being with the sisters. It's all coming together. And we'll find out what it means in 2 weeks. We're going to credits. So it's been a while since we've been out of the hollows.
How does this
so
game work
nice.
again?
and
Is
and
it?
it,
Is
and a
it
game
nice?
and a game about survival and travel. We got to survive and travel,
Yeah.
which was kind of nice. I think we'll do stars and wishes, but I want to do something before it, which is, and I'll come up with a clever name for it, but I kind of like the idea of what do you know now that you didn't know 2 hours ago? So I'll start with you, Jim. So what do you know now that you didn't know 2 hours ago? And then stars and wishes.
That Nervia wasn't alone, which I think we kind of knew, but that we've now sort of found her people, which is nice. That the flute is this sort of weird ethereal thing. That's always good. Seems like a great power to have.
No downsides, obviously.
Yeah, that whole we all failed the roll, but we didn't die thing. It leaves me a little wary. I don't know anything more about that. And I also, a very small part of me really wishes we had stayed overnight at the Hollows to find out what happens, because I don't know that, and it's gonna just pick at the back of my brain forever.
Stars?
I think my star moment was Wasilla in the river, where she just meanders off, and it's like, should I stop her? Can I stop her? I have no idea. This seems so that was really cool.
Wishes.
As far as wishes, I think that exploring where these Raven sisters are going is something that seems real. It seems like a good thread to pull on. I don't think it's quite the same as the mines, but I think that's fine. We'll get there eventually, or we won't.
Brian, what do you know now you didn't know 2 hours ago?
I know how to use artifact dice on my bow.
Every time he yelled at Foundry, he was
Every goddamn time. Thanks for
luckily you don't work in technology, so we're
Yeah,
fine.
no, exactly. Why would I do that?
He's just really getting into his role. He's just really role playing Sten. He's just like, oh, curmudgeon-y. Got it. Check.
Yeah, but again, the I know of the existence of imps now, which is something I would have been just as happy not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think we've already kind of covered most of the new stuff we've learned, so I'll leave that there.
Stars and wishes?
I think my star, while I loved hearing Wasilla say, "You should have shot me with an arrow," that's something that will stay with me for a long time. I think my star was actually that imp encounter, because your little hideous, annoying imp voice is always wonderful, and I really enjoyed it.
So Brian, we appear to have found more sisters.
Mm-hmm.
They seem very cautious and wary about you, which is fair.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What are you hoping to learn?
I don't know what I'm hoping to learn necessarily, but I'm hoping to. I'm seeing them as potential allies. Obviously, we're going to have to smooth talk our way out of this immediate confrontation, which is a little awkward, because if they had just pointed arrows at us, I think it would be fine. But one of them actually grabbed Wasilla. Sten doesn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopefully we can find out why they're here. We can talk to them about, Nervia, frankly, saving our lives, and we owe her. We can tell them about what happened up in the Hollows, and hopefully find some common ground. And they may know more about the mines than we do, so hopefully learn some more of that as well.
Nate, anything you know now that you didn't know before?
I know that I have a lot more goddamn questions than I had when I started this session.
I think we actually know less than we did.
Yeah, somehow I know less about what's going on. Like, we got a magic flute that puts up milk orbs. We got imps. We got a donkey man who just ran by. Like, but it's just magical. I love it. I love every minute of it. I love not knowing.
Yeah. What are you hoping to know by the end of 26 in 2 weeks?
I hope on a hope that we can make an ally of the sisters. That'd be nice. Be nice to have a friend.
That doesn't
And
die immediately. Dragonfire.
We'll
yeah,
kill them in 27. Give them a little.
yeah. I'm sure by the time we get to 27 or 28, there'll be some horrible disaster that
It might be
befalls
30.
them.
You know.
As
But-
is the nature of Forbidden Lands.
Yeah. And I'm hoping we see out right to the mine, I suppose. See what's going on there.
Dave,
Um,
what's new? What's your star? What's your wish?
So I think what's new is flute mostly. I feel like
So what does Dave think this flute? What's the deal?
so I think it is. So I think that it is some kind of barrier between us and the spirit plane, and so like enough.
Hey, Alder, can you mute or something? You're getting a ton of background noise.
Oh, am I? Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
Um,
Dave.
No worries. So I think what's happening is like we're getting put into the spirit world, and then like I imagine the like failed empathy rolls are like going to add up to either we aren't like empathetic with the spirit that's in the flute, or that like we will get pulled into the spirit world, or some kind of long-term draining versus like a immediate pressure on our vitalities like the scepter. Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. It's interesting.
Stars
I think
and
like a
wishes.
lot of Forbidden Lands, it's just like there's like weird stuff. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just never like there's never a real. It's like good writing versus bad writing, right? Like the bad writing is like, here's exactly what this is, and here's every ribbon tied in a bow, and the end, and that just doesn't happen.
Well, what I think is neat is like the players, like you four know, like this thing is cool, but there's something bad about it, right? Because
Yeah.
that's like Rust Bite's that way, the Scepter's
There's a
this right
price.
way, and I think honestly the characters know this by now too,
Yeah.
right? I think it's not just meta knowledge at this
Mhm.
point. And I feel like I used that word hangover on purpose when I talked about the music leaving your ears. That it was everybody just kind of like are my fingernails gonna fall out? Like what's gonna happen, right? All right, stars and wishes, my friend.
Stars gotta go to you. I think your descriptions and the I think you also did like the little things well. I think you got us back on track reasonably well, like inside the combat when we were like trying to make kind of defaulting into like board gamer mode and like trying to make like clean, efficient decisions. Like, oh, what are you doing? Let's go, chop chop. So I think it's got to go to you. I felt like we were out of pace a little bit. Like I feel like we're out of practice, which would be good to be play in 2 weeks as opposed to the break. So
yeah, and I'm hoping now that we've ended a couple of the other, like the schedule's opening up a little bit, so I think that we can get a little bit more regular on every 2 weeks here, which makes me excited. Speaking of excited, Saturday we were playing episode 5 of Fear Itself. This is a crazy story in this screwed up hospital. You've got time to catch up if you haven't been watching. It's the invasive procedures run. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because we lost a player, but Jim being Jim, pinch hitter, he's going to be there Saturday to take the character over in the same way he did with Ostrich. So we'll see you guys on Saturday afternoon for some really creepy, crazy horror. Brian, let's talk about your podcast real quick.
Sure. It's the Ascent of Board Games, or ascentofboardgames.com, where we do a monthly episode talking about different kinds of games and what we like about them and what we don't like about the ones we don't like.
And Nate, if I want to learn, have fun, and hear a mouth from you, dude,
That fan is killing us.
That's so
something's
weird.
happening. Your gain
know
sounds
why.
really
right
high.
at the microphone or something.
Just mute it. All right. So you want to hear a whole lot more, Nate? Steam Power Scoundrels, fantastic podcast, funny
Less
as hell, all the Malifaux you need to hear.
Less fan,
It-
more Nate.
without that crazy gain that's going on poor Nate's mic. All right, beautiful. Patreon, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.